Okay, so here we are live once again with yet another Masters of the Universe Origins figure, and it's from the Turtles of Grayskull line, and it is He-Man. It's the evil mutant He-Man. A lot of people have had words about this, and you're going to hear my words about this, and why I wound up eventually deciding to buy this figure, and why I felt like I'd actually judged this figure a little harshly initially, and I think a lot of people, like, my gut reaction was just to look at it and be like, evil mutant He-Man. Why is He-Man the bad guy all of a sudden? Well, it actually kind of does make sense if we're looking at this as they're combining the ooze with the slime pit, and then you realize, oh yeah, there was the old mini comic that came with the slime pit where He-Man was put into the slime pit, slimed, and turned into an evil, zombie that was controlled by Hordak. Well, if you combine the ooze with the slime, and then you wind up getting an evil mutant He-Man who's been brainwashed by the bad guys. And I should have thought of that because I should have seen the ooze pit on the back, Shredder with the ooze, and it's obviously like I talked about this before. It's the slime pit, but with the Shredder's helmet instead of the big dinosaur skull. And man, that's a playset they ought to make. Even if it's just a Mattel Creations thing, we need an ooze pit because I think that would be a really cool, kind of cheap playset to make. I figured they could probably make that for like under $50 very easily. And really, what they should do is make it so it has the skull also, so that way they don't have to make two play sets. They can just give us the ooze pit, and we can customize it ourselves into a slime pit. I think that would be the best way to do. Anyway, this is an international package, which means there's not a whole lot to read on here, and also it means that again, for this wave, which I now have all the figures in this wave, and every single one of them was like, well, I don't have the first Leonardo. Maybe I'll get him at some point. Maybe that will be my chance to read the comic book. But unfortunately, again, another international comic book with no words, so we're not gonna read that. The Retro Tinker is here. Good day to you, my friend. Good to see you always. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. So we've already been over the packaging enough. I will point out that since technically he's a villain right now, He-Man has Skeletor and the Shredder up at the top of his packaging, rather than He-Man himself, because he's actually this is He-Man's been turned into a bad guy. So let's go ahead and open it up. And I think, like, maybe for a lot of people, their problem with this and is that you know it's the first He-Man figure that they put out in this line, and you're already going with the evil version. So I think that might have been a thing too, but I don't know for certain. Like I know, like, for me though, I had a very negative reaction when I first saw this figure, and like I said, I kind of feel like in hindsight, once I thought about it for like a minute, then I realized I judged you too harshly. You're not a bad concept, but let's see if the figure fits the concept. Now, he does not come with a sword of power because He-Man actually threw away the sword of power when he was starting to mutate, and because he didn't want his evil brainwashed self to have it. So, but we can see He-Man has very massive arms, and I kind of wonder, and I guess we'll have a look when we open up Krang, since I do have Krang. I kind of wonder if these are the same arms that come on Krang. I kind of suspect they are. At least, like, different hands, obviously, and different bracers. But I kind of figure these are probably the same arms that came on Krang. I think all those are reuse of parts that came with the original WWE Universe Andre the Giant figure, which unfortunately I was never able to get. Chowny Ma is here. Ayo, dude, right back at you. Retro Tinker said, I liked this when I first saw it, but haven't managed to see one in person yet. Yeah, I don't know what the situation would be down under, but I found them on Amazon for a fairly cheap price a few weeks ago. I just hadn't gotten around to opening them up yet. So I've had a lot of stuff to open, like a crazy amount of stuff to open, and I'm still not done with Masters of the Universe. We're probably going to be talking about Masters of the Universe for all this week because not only you saw I have Krang and I have Mossman because I got both of those for cheap. I still have Voltac to open up, and I still have that I actually just got today. I have the cartoon collection versions of Catra and Faker. So I think Faker is probably going to be the one that I'm going to save for last of all the He-Man figures, since that's basically a He-Man figure. It's basically the Filmation version of He-Man that I finally have to open up, and because I didn't get that first Filmation He-Man, unfortunately. And Catra looks pretty cool. I'm gonna have to try to get a second one of those at some point. But yeah, I do believe that these are the same arms, the Andre the Giant arms that are also on Krang. So I'll have to try to remember to compare when I open up Krang sometime in the very near future. Tomorrow, I think I'll open Mossman, and then Krang will probably be the last of my Turtles and Grayskull figures that I have. So let's go ahead and have a look at his articulation. He-Man can look up about that far. He can look down about that far. He can tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, but not a whole lot. Which seems to me like it would be a really good articulation to have on like an evil zombie version of He-Man. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, and they move up to the sides about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow that bends in about that far, rotates all the way around. He's got the bracers are actually separate pieces. You can see those rotating around. Uh, Hands rotate all the way around at the wrist, and they've got that horizontal joint that move back and forth like that. Retro Tinker says, I got the cartoon faker last week. Awesome. Yeah. Like, I wound up getting that one off of the Mattel website, even though I already had one pre ordered from Amazon, and I got one pre ordered from Big Bad Toy Store, but neither of those have shown up yet. Uh, like it hasn't even shown up in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store yet, and it was supposed to show up in March. And the to be honest, the Amazon one wasn't supposed to show up till May anyway, so I'm not shedding too many fears about that one. But well, it's going to be good for me to have extras of that one, obviously. So anyway, He-Man can rotate all the way around at the waist. This is an Origins figure, so it does come all the way apart. His belt comes off, and underneath is just plain black trunks, unpainted belt under that. But of course, they've got this spiky belt on there. I believe it's the same belt that also came with the sketchbook version of Hordak. Go and put that back together. He-Man, of course, can kick up about that far, which is not incredibly far, but these figures are so muscle bound that that's just how it's going to be. Bends at the knee about that far, and of course the knee joint rotates all the way around. Got a boot cut, boot rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far, foot points up about that far, and of course that rotates all the way around. So this is if you remember me talking about the torn toe with the boot on the Stealth Ninja He-Man figure, and I've mentioned that it was reused from the Evil Mutant He-Man. There it is, and those toes are just painted in that purple color, but they're not translucent like the rest of the body is. You can see that the entire body is a very purple, slightly translucent kind of color. It's not like super translucent, but it's translucent enough. It's supposed to give it kind of a glowing effect. And oftentimes when we see the slime pit He-Man, he's molded in translucent green plastic, but I guess they made him purple since the ooze is purple, so that's why it's gonna do that. Retro Tinker says, I'm sure that my own inflexibility is due to being too muscle bound. Definitely muscle. Yeah, I don't think it's all muscle in my case. but this guy, it's definitely because he's a muscular dude, really. So the original He-Man design, which this is copied from that original He-Man sculpt, it wasn't really made to be like a super articulated figure. It was made to be, he's in this sort of like he's got a very stiff joint there. He's sculpted to be in this kind of crouching position, and honestly, it's a position that's kind of made so that you don't even really have to move the legs around all that much. You know, they to put him in a vehicle or set him in a throne or something like that. It doesn't really take a whole lot of posing to get those legs to do. For example, since I happen to have it here, the Zodak throne that I 3D printed, which of course is based on the original Castle Grayskull throne. You can see he just kind of plops on there, and his legs are still kind of posed in the way that the original Masters of the Universe figures are posed. So not too big a deal as far as that goes. Let's see here. Chani Ma says, "LOL." Yeah, LOL indeed. We LOL a lot on this channel. So one thing that I don't really care for too much on this is he's got this headband, and I guess that's supposed to be a nod to like the Ninja Turtle aesthetic. And the headband, as far as the articulation goes, I probably should have mentioned this. The headband actually is kind of posable, so that's neat. But I kind of feel like it was unnecessary. Like maybe this figure would have been better off not having the headband. And then he's got this armor, which you can see is different from the regular He-Man armor, and it's got spikes and stuff on it, and it's got the H instead of the Iron Cross that the basic He-Man would have. So I guess that the idea is that the mutagen would have altered his clothing when it mutated him, and I guess there's some precedent to that. If you think about Super Shredder, and his clothing definitely mutated when he mutated in the Super Shredder, so it might be like one of those type of things. His one accessory that he comes with is he comes with a recolor of Spike-Or's mace in silver, and we can put that in his hand and see what that. Even though he's got like these ginormous Andre the Giant mitts, he can still hold the mace pretty well. So that's a good thing. I guess they felt like they needed to give him some kind of weapon, even though He-Man threw away the power sword as he was mutating. And He-Man's got these kind of sinister red eyes, which on mine, unfortunately, looks like the printing is just slightly off. I don't know if you see that on the camera, but the eyes aren't printed quite evenly on the face. This would be something that would upset me very much if it weren't evil mutant He-Man, and I can just kind of in my head chalk that up to, well, he's a mutant, his eyes are messed up, and that's just what happened. But I don't think it's supposed to be that way. I think that's just was malaligned when it was printed. Retro Tinker says, I think it's like the Hulk's pants. Try not to think about it. Yeah, I mean, like they did have a couple of explanations as to the Hulk's pants in the comics, like unstable molecules and things like that. Sometimes you see Bruce Banner wearing a completely different color pants, and when he transforms into the Hulk, he's still wearing the purple pants because the branding is important. He's got to have those purple pants, but but yeah, like they'll say like, oh well, the gamma radiation just kind of turns all the pants purple or something like that, and they talk about how the pants like expand because of the unstable molecules, but then again, it's like they still tear up at the seam of the pants. They're still all torn at the bottom there. He still rips through his shirt. What these. But yeah, I think the idea is that his clothing and armor, like with Super Shredder, actually is affected by the mutagen when he mutates. So I think that's the idea. And this armor does come off. It comes off the same way as like the regular He-Man armor. It might be cool to see somebody use this as a custom on like a regular He-Man figure. Like maybe if you painted it into the regular He-Man colors, if you don't mind them having like spikes and stuff like that, that might be a cool thing to have. Unfortunately, if you did do that, it does not have any place to store a sword on the back. So that's worth noting. But overall, he's a pretty cool looking figure. And like I said, I know a lot of people were bothered by the idea of, oh, He-Man's an evil mutant, and it kind of bothered me at first too. But but once I thought about it, with the it being an homage to the original concept of Slime Pit He-Man, then I'm like, okay, as a Slime Pit He-Man, I can kind of get behind it. So, but yeah, I think a lot of people were just bothered by the fact that they turned He-Man into a villain, and it's like, why you got to do that in the Ninja Turtle crossover? You know, you want to see He-Man team up with the Ninja Turtles, and them introducing He-Man to pizza and things like that. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much it for this episode. It's a shorter one as far as Masters Universe Origins go, but I've been over everything with the figure, and there's no comic book to read, and there's not going to be any comic book to read for Krang or Mossman, I believe, because those don't seem to have come with comics so far. But there is a new comic, I think, that comes with Katra and Faker, so we're gonna have at least one more new comic to read. I don't remember. I'm not sure if Voltak comes with one or not, but we're gonna get these He-Man figures finished up this week, and then we're finally moving on to some GI Joe, because it's been way too long since I opened up GI Joe. If you consider the fact that I did pretty much nothing, I don't think I did anything but He-Man for like the whole of March, and then here we are, like 21 days into April, still haven't done anything but He-Man. Then of course February was Black History Month, and I lamented the fact during Black History Month that I did not have any, even though there have been lots of black characters in GI Joe. I didn't have any available with me to open at that time, because I opened up all the black characters in GI Joe. So, so yeah, it's been way too long since I've done GI Joe. We're gonna hop back into that, and then once we get my all my GI Joe figures opened, then we've got a lot of DC stuff to go over, including some superpowers and various DC multiverse figures that I want to get opened. We still got Guy Gardner. We still got Captain Cold. I'm probably gonna do a whole Flash villain week, because I've got a lot of Flash villains to go over. So that seems like that'd be a fun theme to do. And the Flash does have one of the best rogues galleries in all of comics, so it's definitely worth highlighting that. So that's probably going to be a theme within a theme when I'm opening up this next batch of DC Multiverse. But we're almost done with Masters Universe finally, at least until the next Masters Universe figures I get, which is, I don't know when that's gonna be, but we'll just. I know I've got that King Randor figure in my pile of loot, so I need to get that. But I'm still waiting on the cartoon collection Faker to show up in my pile of loot before I order those. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Evil Mutant He-Man. And was this a figure that you wanted to add to your collection, or was this one that was like an easy pass for you? Were you bothered by the fact that they made He-Man into an evil mutant? Or maybe you're a little bit smarter than me and you figured that out right away. Oh, it's like the slime pit. Okay. Chow Ma says, take care, dudes. Cool, the Joes are on the way. Yeah, the Joes are on the way, and nobody's more excited about that than I am, because I'm ready to get back into that. GI Joe is like my absolute favorite action figure line of all time. I consider it the greatest action figure line of all. It's the one that started it all. We wouldn't have action figures at all if it weren't for that original 12-inch GI Joe. So yeah, I'm definitely ready to dive back into that. And yeah, and then more DC stuff, because I love my DC. So and we'll probably have some more Marvel stuff in the future, because I still got some good Marvel stuff to open up. A lot of stuff that I found at Ollie's, and a couple of other surprises that something that I should have opened a long time ago, that I found it at Walmart, and I was really excited about it when I bought it, but somehow it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But it's a Marvel Legends figure that I bought at full retail price, so that ought to show you how cool I think it is. Retro Tinker says, I think he's cool. Thanks for giving us a closer look. Well, I very much appreciate that. Thank you. All right, that's it for this episode. We will talk to you next time. Bye.